But I want to make sure the college is more affordable. Let's continue increasing the Pell Grants to working and middle-class families and increase record investments.
No, that's not how you make college more affordable by giving. Listen, let me tell y'all what the liberal solution playbook is. Yeah, I'm going to give y'all some more money. Yeah, I'm going to give y'all some more money. You get a Pell Grant. You get a Pell Grant. And I'm going to give you some more money. You need to bring the cost of tuition down. You need to bring the cost of inflation down. You need to bring the cost of housing down. You need to focus on the core root of the problem, not just giving away more taxpayer dollars. That is not a solution. It's not the solution. You don't solution for something by just saying, okay, well, we just going to put some more money in taxpayer dollars at it. Don't worry about it. We can print some more inflation. Not a big deal. That's not a solution. That's how y'all got in these student loans in the first place.
In HBCUs, and minority-serving institutions, including Hispanic institutions. And I was told I couldn't universally just change the way in which we did.
Thank you, Eric. See, I know you're objective.
Student loans. I fixed 2 student loan programs that already existed to reduce the burden of student debt for nearly 4 million Americans, including nurses.
Let me tell you what I would do. Especially with regard to these student loans, okay? Number one, I would place the amount that you could receive from a student loan on a scale based off of whatever it is that you go into, a sliding scale that's reevaluated every single year based off of whatever it is that you're going into from a curriculum perspective. So if you decide that you want to go into African American studies, then the amount of money that you could borrow will be significantly less, or if you just are going into certain forms of liberal arts, then I wouldn't allow for you to be able to get student loans, or you would be required to go to community college first. However, if you are studying to be a doctor, if you are studying to be a surgeon, an anesthesiologist, a neurosurgeon, then I would basically raise the cap. I would put a cap on the amount of money that you can borrow so you don't have self-inflicted wounds, especially considering that the majority of these people that are borrowing are 18, 19, and 20-year-old children. So if you want to go and get an underwater basket weaving degree, you cannot get the same amount of money and borrow from it just because it's available to you. And then we would reevaluate whether or not you're on track and on a pathway to what success looks like. Because if you don't graduate, even if we give you a whole bunch of money, then you are still doing yourself a disservice. But you know why they don't want to do that? Because there's a system in place. And that system largely benefits off of the same thing that you do when you go out and you use your credit cards. The system itself is making money based off of the idea that you're going to pay an egregious amount in interest over the life of the loan itself. Everything needs to be reevaluated and put on a sliding scale depending on what we need in society and what we know that employers are looking for, especially with regard to an educated workforce. So if we have the majority of these visas being issued depending on us not having the ability to hire people within the United States of America because we don't have the education, and so as a result, we always going over to India and we pay a lot more money even though they're getting it at a lower rate because we paying these agencies a whole bunch of money in order to recruit these people. How do you, listen, this is the way that you start to reinvest in the American people. It's not about giving away money. It's not just about, oh man, that plant stayed open, so you got this one token plant, like you got the one black guy, the one token black guy over there that was able to graduate high school, right? That's not what the solution is. The solution is that you have to incentivize people by allowing for them to not only have, to not have self-inflicted wounds, but at the same time be able to go into certain programs because they have the visibility and understanding that this is where the demand lies. That's how you stimulate the American economy. That's how you create jobs, is that you incentivize people to do the best thing for them and you limit the amount that people can do And if that's really a passion for it, then you have to invest in it yourself. We not funding that as a government, because then this becomes another social program. All student loans are, it's not that college is bad, it's the way by which we go about looking at college and what you decide to go into. All student loans are is another social program that ultimately keeps you under duress, and it does not teach you any tangible skills that allow for you to then be able to benefit long term. If you want to solve for the homelessness crisis, the education crisis, the student loan crisis, the affordability when it comes to all of the things that they got going on in these universities, the qualifications by which you have to use in order to get into some of these institutions, the fact that community colleges are severely underutilized, where they have a much lower per hour rate by which it costs you, per credit hour rate by which it costs you in order to go into these programs, that then you leapfrog into the next program. They need to start creating programs that allow for community colleges to be more intertwined with major universities in order for them to then ensure the success of the student. Because the chances are, if you graduate from a community college with a 2-year degree while then still leapfrogging into and then reducing the cost of what your education is going to be, you have a greater chance of being successful in a major university. These are the type of laws and the type of incentives that our government need to be using in your tax dollars, because then they're reinvesting in you, not just giving you a handout. They're not teaching you how to fish. They're not incentivizing you to go in the right direction. What they're doing is they're buying your vote. They're buying your vote. If you go to community college and you flunk out, cool. Did you know that in a lot of these community colleges, you can get the same amount in the student loan as you can at a major university? Now, why would you still allow for that to happen, considering that the cost per credit hour is much lower? You know why? Because the system is broken. When we talk about these loopholes that we need to fix, loopholes don't have to do with just the tax code. Loopholes have to do with everything that we touch on a daily basis, including our infrastructure, including our education, including our police force. All of these things are problems that's then created to keep you down, and you don't realize it, because it's not just that we're not educated, it's because we're not educated in the right things, because we're ignorant. Ignorant meaning that we don't know better. So by the time you figure it out, now you have a negative disposition towards college, when college isn't bad. It's the way by which we support the college system and student loan system. It's the same thing as the child support system and the family court system. It now became a system that allows for the government to then benefit and then keep jobs in place in order to keep you down. But because we don't think, because we elect people based off of how much money that they say that they're going to give us, what's actually hurting us, because you're not even going to remember that money. How much did that stimulus money help you during the pandemic? How much did that stimulus money actually help you during the pandemic? But no, they'll sell you on the idea that, no, listen, we're going to give you more Pell. We're going to give you higher thresholds. We're going to make sure that you're going to... Oh, man. Come on, man. I know the system. I know the system. Fix the housing part, the housing crisis, and the cost of being able to attend these universities. Now you got universities partnering with large corporations to build housing, builders, and then they're sharing the profits to then charge you more in rent for you to be able to stay on campus, just so you can be in these indoctrination camps slutting it out because you want more freedom. It's so many different ways that you can solve for the financial crisis that's then manufactured based off of the education system and the student loans and all of this stuff, but we don't want to have these conversations. You know why? Because it's much more popular for them to simplify. See, if I explain this and I break this down, people going to tune out and they're going to be like, that sounds a little complicated. We don't want to think through that. And then they can get on here and say, listen, guys, we're going to give you more free money. Now, never mind the fact that we had a federal deficit, an egregious federal deficit, that the value of your money is going to continue to go down. You're not even beating the rate of inflation. They're not teaching you anything. And these general education requirements is just a money grab for the university. Y'all going into these indoctrination camps, y'all suffering as a result of it. And so what they do when they understand, listen, they got the smartest people ever working for them. And what they do is they say, listen, we just need to simplify it. We just need to simplify it. Just say, we're going to give you some free money. And then the people be like this. You just got to simplify it. Steve Jobs understood it. The president understands it too. People don't want to know. Listen, the difference between Apple and Samsung, in a lot of instances, the reason why people are so devoted to Apple is because they made it simple. They didn't make it overly complicated in order for you to become a part of the ecosystem, but they tied you to the ecosystem itself. The president understands that. People like simple. What are you going to do for me again? I'm going to just give you some free money. Oh, I'm voting. Bye. Don't you realize that they manufactured the same thing that then forced you to then vote for them again in order to forgive you? Y'all not catching it. Listen, the same thing that you voted for in order to get them into office in the first place, they then created the problem so that they can give you the solution. So you went into this thing that they already know how to solve, but they already made a whole bunch of money for you. And then you sat there and said, but Biden forgave my student loan. They created the very problem that you then leaned into in order to be able to vote for them again. They double whammied you. You don't get it. And so that's why it's so difficult for y'all to even be able to have this conversation, because listen, it's like creating the disease and then creating the vaccine and the solution to get yourself treated and stimulated so that you can then vote for the same person that gave you the disease in the first place. They gave you the problem so that they can give you a solution, make a bunch of money from it, and then stay in power. You realize you got finessed in the first place? Come on, we gonna wake up? We gonna wake up? They gave you the food that you was eating so that you can then become diabetic, have high blood pressure, have all of these preservatives so that they can sell you a bunch of refrigerators and freezers for you to store it in, and then all of the services that then support it so that they can then create the medicine for you to treat the symptom and not solve for the problem, because you never should have had high blood pressure and diabetes in the first place. But you know what they're going to say? Hey, guys, we're going to lower the medicine after they already made a whole bunch of money with the big pharma companies that then donated into their coffers. So basically, they're a walking advertiser for the big pharma companies, and then they'll say to you, listen, guys, you're not going to charge you $400 anymore. They're going to charge you $35 and still have a great profit margin. So you're not solving for the problem. You're basically creating a better solution for you to continue to get rich, and then for you to be funded by the same people that's lobbying and putting money in your coffers in order to get you elected. And so all they got to do is present the possibility of you then voting against the big system that they then support. And where you think all of the money is coming from? You? How many of y'all in here have ever donated to a presidential campaign? And if you have, how much money did you give? These people spend billions and billions and billions of dollars. And what do you think that these super PACs are? What you think these people is donating for these people to become president of the United States so they can work for you? You a consumer. You ain't nothing but a battery. You know what you are? Let me tell you what you are. If you've ever watched that movie, The Matrix, I'm giving y'all a little bit too much game. I'm just a C student. I'm going to break it down for you like a C student. You just a battery until you have no more juice left. And the minute that you stop having juice is the minute that they then move on from you. You a battery in the plant. You just don't know it yet. You a part of the machine. You a part of the system. You a part of the cog, and you don't know it yet. You a sucker. You a consumer from the time that you open up your eyes to the time that you close them. Listen, if they could make more money from you, then they would extend your life. But it's more profitable to have you boy, don't get me going. Don't get me going. Because at the end of your journey, they're going to get a big payout as a result of you then getting yourself treated for something that you can't get cured from in the first place. You're going to get the big payout to get treated from something that you can't even get cured for in the first place, when you should have never had the disease. You a battery. You a battery, bro. And you don't know it. And you continue to lean into this nonsense and this mindset that you think that you're being educated and you voting blindly instead of being in. You're blind. You a bat. You a bat. The only time you turn upside down is to pee so that you don't get yourself wet. You flying blind, big dog. You can't even see. But I'm crazy. I don't know any better. No, I'm just not talking as much as I need to because I understand the game. And I understand in order for me to even be sitting here talking to you in the first place, I got to limit how much I say. So that's why I'm going to give it to you in bits and pieces. And it's up to you to connect the dots. I can't connect the dots for you because then I'm not even going to be here sitting here talking to you. Read between the lines. Read between the lines. Listen, we got thousands and thousands of people watching this right here. I can only say so much. It's up to you to then connect the dots because we got to give it to you in bits and pieces. I can only give you the puzzle. You got to put it together. It's up to you to put the puzzle together. But I'm trying to tell you that it's deeper. It's much, much deeper. And this is why we need to become informed. This is why we need to stop being distracted. This is why it's important for me to put the medicine in the candy. Because even if you don't give me the credit for being able to have these conversations with you in reality, understand this. It all comes back down to the money. It all comes back down to power. See, when you really get to a certain level, you're going to understand that the money don't even mean nothing. It's not even worth the paper that it's printed on. It's about the power. Because the power is then what controls the money. Because the money is basically controlled by your thought process and thinking that it's valuable. So if they can then convince you to think that it's valuable, then that means they can manipulate you to do what they want you to do. I can't keep saying it. Let me step back because I thought we was reviewing the State of the Union. I didn't know that I was going to go ahead and preach today.